Hey guys, Mustang here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we are going to get the STR JANEMBA EZA dropping on Global within the next 12 hours. I am recording this one and the Tapion one pretty much back to back because they come out around the same time on both versions, so I will be putting up both the videos around about the same time. I think I might put up the Tapion one first because I think it comes out like an hour before the JANEMBA one, but either way they're both going up today, so if you play both versions make sure you check out the other one as well. But JANEMBA, so his weakness is the fusion category, unsurprisingly. A lot of these have like very theme-fitting weakness categories, like Broly with Hybrid Saiyans. So of course JANEMBA is fusion. It's a standard 30-stage EZA, so you can't stun past stage 5, you can't attack lower past stage 15, and you can't seal past stage 20. And then of course stage 20 brings a massive damage reduction to specific types of units. So for this one it is Tech, STR, Physical, and Extreme units. So literally only Super AGL and Super Int units are going to be able to deal damage to JANEMBA, especially once you get to like the later stages. So fortunately there's some very good especially Super Int units, and I'm sure some of you can think of one in particular since we did a big video about him yesterday. But this is a standard 30-stage EZA, as I said, so you get all the medals to awaken JANEMBA, you get a whole bunch of STR orbs. I think it's around about enough to rainbow a unit completely. And then of course you get 11 of the type Kais, you get 30 stones, one for each stage, and then there's 4 available for doing the missions as well, as long as you have at least one fusion character on your team, which, you know, you should have. I can't see anyone going through this EZA with a completely non-fusion team. Not to say it's not possible, but just why would you do that to yourself? So you get 34 stones, you get the Kais you need to get him up to SA 15 if you've already got him at SA 10, and then you get a few extra spare ones, which is always nice. So if we have a look at the fusion category, there are a ton of leaders. So this one, compared to the Tapion one, which is Connected Hope, which is basically only Pycon, otherwise you have to start messing around with other units and mixing in other categories, Fusion has a ton of leaders, and a lot of them have been out for a long time. Now the only thing you have to notice, of course, is we want to run Super AGL and Super Int units, and out of the main leaders we only have one Super AGL, which is of course the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie Gogeta, so he's going to be the best bet for the lead. But if you don't have him, any of the others will do. It just means they won't do as much damage. And then obviously, if, for example, if you're using the physical LR, they're going to have type disadvantage, so you've got to be very careful about them taking attacks. But they are a very solid defensive unit, so it's not like they're going to get immediately murdered, but if they take a super attack, you are going to take a lot of damage. And then of course, if you don't have any of these, we've got like the Gotenks and Ghost, who's a very strong unit. This free-to-play Gotenks isn't that great, but he has a fusion lead. And then of course there is the Veku, who just came out on Global. He's not very good either, to be honest, but if you haven't got any other fusion leaders, then you got to do what you got to do. So looking at the AGL Gogeta, he is the best leader for the event because he leads fusion, he's Super AGL. He has built-in 25% chance to dodge, and then as you get to the higher stages, once you get to turn 5, he transforms into Blue Gogeta, and then it's going to be GG from that point, because he has guaranteed crits, he has 50% chance to dodge. So if you get to turn 5, Blue Gogeta is probably going to finish off the event in that turn. So then of course we have the LR, like I mentioned. You're only really going to be bringing them as a leader if you don't have any other fusion leader, because they have type disadvantage. They're not going to do a lot of damage, so like they're not worth bringing on the team unless they are literally the only fusion leader that you have available to you. Of course, in an EZA where you can't use items to heal, if your team is quite weak and you are struggling, there is the potential that you could bring them on the team even if you have another fusion leader, and then as long as you can survive up until the 6th turn, you'll have probably dropped below 50% HP because you can't use items to heal, and then they will fuse into Super Gogeta, which gives you a full heal, and then their attack's effective against all types, but that doesn't change the fact that they're still being nerfed by the event by being physical, so they're not going to do a lot of damage. The LR from the 5-year, again, you're probably only going to bring him if you need a fusion leader because he's going to be massively nerfed damage-wise. He is strong normally, and of course turn 4 he's going to transform up to Super Saiyan Blue, but I can't stress enough that the 80% damage reduction just cripples these units, so you're still going to see him hitting the attack stats that you would expect, but he's just not going to do any damage, so he's really only going to be used if you don't have another fusion leader, and then the same goes for the Tech Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Obviously on Global we don't have the same name update, so if you don't have Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, you could bring this guy because you do have the 70% chance to counter super attacks, which is going to save you from taking damage, but the counter itself and then obviously all of his attacks are just not going to do any damage because he is a tech unit. So your best bet for the leader is the AGL Gogeta from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. So for the units that you want to bring on your team, I thought I'd include these guys here because they're one of the only LRs that don't suffer from that typing damage reduction. But Goten and Trunks aren't the best unit to bring on the fusion team because their passive is very RNG related for how much key you get at the start of the turn, and if you only get their 12 to 17 key super, they do debuff themselves in some way, which is quite annoying. And then of course their links, because they are not an actual fused character, they don't share a lot of links with units on the team. They will share some attack links with units like Gotenks, but they don't share a lot of key links. And like I said, you can easily get a bad turn with their passive where you just can't get their 18 key super. So if you do have them and you have them with dupes, they can be a hard hitting unit, but they can be a little bit risky. But obviously if you've got to fill out your team with fusion units, then they are an option to bring. Because if you get the right turn, they can obviously hit very, very hard. So then we have the new Veku. I thought I'd throw him in just for the superior fusion that he is. Yeah, he's very bad. He has a high chance of massively raising attack on super, does supreme damage, which is okay. He has 150% attack and 50% defense. His attack goes down by 10% with each turn that passes until it's gone down by 50%. He has a medium chance to perform a crit when performing a super, and his defense and chance to dodge goes up by 10% with each attack received. So once he's taken a bunch of attacks, he does have a reasonable amount of defense and like a 50% chance to dodge, but overall he's just not very good. And obviously whilst he is a fusion, so he has fused fighter, he's not a Super Saiyan, he's missing a lot of the attack links that the other units will have, but of course he is an AGL fusion, so if you need to fill that final spot on your team, you can bring him. Then we have the Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, the big man himself. So obviously he doesn't have a fusion lead, but if you have him, he is absolutely like the #1 unit you put on your team. When you build your team for this event, you put your fusion leader, and then you put this guy, if you have him. It's literally that simple. Attack and defense 200%. For the first 8 turns, he gets an extra 40% attack and defense and is super effective against all types. He has a 50% chance to counter supers. I mean, yeah, what else do you really need to say about this guy? Plus, if the way the attacks are spread out, if he can receive 4 attacks, then you can use his active skill as well, get an extra 40% attack and defense while nerfing the enemy's defense. So he just absolutely is going to destroy. For the first, like, probably, I don't know, even 10 stages, if you have this guy on the first rotation, chances are he will potentially just one-shot JANEMBA. So if you have Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, obviously you're putting him on your team. So then we have the Int Gotenks. He did return on the PyCon and JANEMBA banners, so if you didn't have him before, maybe you've had a chance to pick him up. He's okay for EZAs, like he's really good in modes like Super Battle Road because of his stun chance, but he does greatly raise defense on super attack, and once he transforms up to Super Saiyan Gotenks on turn, is it 4? Turn 3, yeah, turn 3, transforms up to Super Saiyan. He's going to have much better links. He has this high chance to get 50% attack and defense like twice, so he can hit incredibly hard as well as having very reasonable defense, so he is a very good choice. If you decide to go past stage 30, you might get to see him transform up to Super Saiyan 3, and by that point then yeah, he's probably just going to finish off the fight because he's incredibly hard hitting at Super Saiyan 3. So then we have the Gotenks and Ghost. After their EZA, they became a very, very solid unit. They greatly raise attack and defense on super attack. They also create rainbow orbs and use those orbs to heal, which is really nice for an EZA because you can't use items. So these guys are probably a must include on the team as well. And as a free-to-play unit, unless you've only recently started the game and so weren't playing it when their event was available, everybody should have access to them. So then we have, of course, the Int Super Gogeta, who recently got his EZA on Global. Again, just like Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, there's not really a huge amount we need to say about this guy. If you have him, just put him on the team, right? Because you need AGL or Int Fusion units. He is one of the strongest Int Fusion units, especially after his EZA. He has a built-in chance to dodge as long as you can pick up 1 rainbow orb. He raises his defense on super attack, so yeah, he's just going to be really, really good. If you have him, you're going to be bringing him on the team, basically. Then we have Pandel. So I included Pandel as a bit of an honourable mention just because she is an Int Fusion unit. She does give attack 30% for all allies as a support buff. That's the only reason I included her on here. If you need to fill that 6th slot with somebody, I would probably bring her over somebody like Veku, just because if you've got her in the 3rd slot, she's just going to make it so Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta or the Int Super Gogeta hits a lot harder. But obviously she is not particularly good. She's not going to do a lot of damage. Her defense isn't very good. So for the higher stages, it's probably not worth using her. But I thought I'd throw her in for an honourable mention. And then apparently I opened Veku's tab twice. That's how good Veku is. He somehow managed to make his way in here a 2nd time. But no, really he isn't good. I would bring him only if you literally have 5 other units and you need to fill that 6th slot. So there you go. Fusion is a lot more restrictive of a category. There are a few free-to-play options. There are a few of these units that are in the general pool. I didn't mention Bullpan. She is at least AGL, but her support is she literally just gives allies Ki, which on the Fusion team, Ki is never really an issue. There is this Super Saiyan Gotenks as well. He is a nuker, but until he gets like an EZA, like he has no defense, so he's not particularly good defensively. But I guess, again, he would be a unit that if you need to fill that final spot, you could use him, because there's a lot of strong like tech, STR and physical fusion units, but we just can't really bring them into this event because their damage gets severely nerfed. So there you go. Those are the fusion units that I would recommend bringing and how to build your team to beat the JANEMBA EZA. Let me know down below if you think there is a unit that we should have talked about more that I missed, and let us know your team builds in the comments section. Keep helping each other out down below with advice, and let me know how you get on when the EZA drops. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links to the Discord and the merch store in the description below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.